What is up, everybody? My name is Reggie, and today I am back from a very busy summer. I did get some gaming in though, and I'm very excited to share with you all what I've been playing. Here we go. Okay, so typically in the summer, as an educator, I do get a lot of games in, but this was an exceptionally busy summer with 2 international trips, my youngest sister's wedding, and sadly, 0 conventions. But I did still get a good amount of games in, and I track it all using BG Stats. So from June, July, and August, I had 186 plays of 74 unique games, 30 of those games being new to me. And so today, I'm just gonna rank the top half of those new games. So I've got the top 15 of those games, and we're gonna go from 15 to 1 and talk about them and what I thought about them. A lot of them I do not own, and a lot of them I played less than 5 times. So these are kind of first impressions, hot takes, and I rank them by that first experience as well as how much I want to continue to explore that board game. Then at the end, I've got a handful of new games as the collector I am, and so we'll do a little summer haul after that. So let's get started with number 15. Number 15 is an extremely cute game that I've never played before until this summer, and that is called Boop. It is a cat abstract game for 2 players. The Queen and I played this in a board game bar in Amsterdam, and you start with these little kittens and you can upgrade them to cats by getting them 3 in a row, and then you win by getting 3 cats in a row. So kind of Connect 4E. The big twist is when you plop a kitten or a cat down, it's going to bump other kittens or cats, depending on the size, in every other direction and sometimes off of the board. So it's one of those, it's almost chess-like. You got to plan ahead, like if I put this here, what will they do? And then I can do something, but every turn you're just putting a kitten or a cat on the board. Really simple. I've been playing it on BGA. It is very cute. It is very fun. I don't know if I need to own it, but I do want to just keep testing that puzzle out because you clearly can get much, much better at this game. And they have many cute versions now. There's like a Christmas version and a Halloween version called Boop, but they're really cute. That's Boop, 2-player abstract cat game. My number 14 is another small box 2-player game, and I discovered this from watching Chairman of the Board. Shout out to him. This is Marabunta. Yeah, he brought it up in one of his review videos just quickly, and I had never heard of it, so I'm gonna put his channel below if you haven't heard of Chairman of the Board. But Marabunta is designed by the good Dr. Rainer Knizia himself, and it is published by Space Cowboys, which I really love for games like Botnik or Jaipur. And so what really intrigued me is you roll 6 dice and you draw a tile, and then you have to split those 6 dice and that tile into 2 pools. So it could be the 1 tile and 6 dice, or 3 dice here and 3 dice here and a tile in the second pile, and then your opponent gets to choose. So this is called I Split You Choose, also known as I Cut You Choose. And what you're using those dice to use dry erase markers to write on this little hexagon board, and it's kind of area majority. The Queen and I played this like 3 times in a row in one setting. So I only played it that one session, but it is really cool and I really want to explore it more. I wish more games would do this I Cut You Choose mechanic, and so I'm really keeping an eye out for any of those. My 2 favorites before this game were Tussie Mussy and New York Slice, and it is just such a unique little way to use I Cut You Choose to do like a hex area majority, and you're also splitting not only one component, you're splitting dice and a tile. So it was really interesting. I definitely recommend checking that out. It's technically a roll and write, although it really feels like an I Cut You Choose area majority game by Rainer Knizia himself. He's just always doing unique things. That's Marabunta. Number 13 is another new game to my collection this summer, and that is Beacon Patrol here. It is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game. Beautiful, beautiful production by Pandasaurus. They've really been knocking it out of the park recently. Really simple, straightforward tile-laying game, but it's basically cooperative Carcassonne. I put it above the other 2 games, not because it's a little more tactical. I think both Marabunta and Boop are a little more strategic than this game, honestly, but this might be one of the best weeknight games going forward. I think once I'm back in the school year and going hard in work, and you don't have like a lot of brain power on a Tuesday night, but you still want to play a board game, I think Beacon Patrol is going to fit that perfect spot. It is really not too taxing on your brain. It's a nice cozy experience at solo especially, but I really like the multiplayer version where you're going to be passing tiles to each other. The only real twist is that the tiles have a little arrow on them, so they have to be facing a certain direction. You can't just rotate them a bunch, so you're really looking for that perfect tile a lot of the time, and it forces you to move your little boat around. It's very cute. I've really been enjoying Beacon Patrol, my number 13. My number 12 is Quicks. Now, this game's been out for a while. I just got on the train here. Our friend Erin, who lives in Europe, introduced this one to us, and I'm really grateful that she did because it is such a great portable game. I think it's honestly, before I even talk about the mechanics, that is the best thing about it. This game can go anywhere. We brought this around multiple countries in Europe on our vacation. Loved that part about it. But mechanically, it's a small box little roll and write. You've got 6 dice and a notepad. You have 4 rows for your colored dice, and you have to put the numbers in ascending order from lowest to highest. It's never going to be perfect, but it's really interesting because every time someone rolls, every player gets to assign the white number down, but only the active player gets to assign any color number if they want to later. It's such a simple game, you really could teach it to anyone, but because of the restriction of how you have to put numbers, you're going to do a risky thing like taking that 5 and the very next turn, inevitably, a 4 is going to roll, and then you can't put that because it's a lower number. So I really like it. There's a little bit of interaction, more than the average roll and write, I would say. And the size of it alone, I just have to get this in my collection. Really great. Loved Quicks, my number 12. My number 11 for this summer is another game I have a copy of. Hold. And that is Mind Bug here. This is a great game that is not designed by Richard Garfield, but he is, oh yeah, Mind Bug here. I have the first Contact version, very, very affordable, inexpensive, co-designed by Richard Garfield. And of course I played this after I made my Magic the Gathering video, check that one out. But really, it's a simple card game with these little creatures with different powers and varying keywords, very, very Magic-like. And when you play one down, both players have 2 Mind Bugs, and you can decide to just say, hey, I'm mind controlling that creature, and I will be using my Mind Bug to take it. But since both players have 2 Mind Bugs and kind of a randomized deck, very, very small deck, it's such a little mind game, pardon the pun. Because of that very simple mechanic, it has a lot of tension of when to use those 2 Mind Bugs. They're a very limited resource, and when to play certain creatures, to hold out on certain ones, to try to bait them to Mind Bug your previous ones. And then it's also really, really low health. At least in this version, you only can take 3 hits and then it's out. It's over. So it's really, really quick. It gives me the same feeling of Marvel Champions, where I'm getting a trading card game experience in like 10 to 15 minutes with much smaller deck size. And I really want to get some more of the other versions. There's so many different boxes that have come out now, and I want to combine them all and play some more Mind Bug, my number 11. My number 10 game that I played for the first time this summer is Freaky Frogs from Outer Space. So check that one out. This is designed by Freedom and Friesa. It is a solo deck building game that's meant to emulate the experience you get while playing pinball, which is very wacky along with the name and everything. But the designer, Freedom and Friesa, he's famous for a lot of different games out there, but one of his original big hit games was called Friday, that comes in a very similar size box and shape to this. That is a solo deck building experience, which I really want to try. I haven't, and after playing this, I really do. To let you know, it does emulate pinball very well. I don't know how he did it. It's amazing, and when you're playing it, you're like, wow, this is so clever. The mechanics themselves are just really way too hard to explain right now. I really recommend going and checking out John Gets Games playthrough of it. The rulebook, not so great, but once you know what you're doing, wow, is this a fun game with a lot of combos. You feel really, really satisfied when you get these huge combos, and you also sometimes get that bad luck and the ball goes right down through the middle, and you don't have a flipper card to keep it up. It's really, really interesting that way. I feel like I got a pretty high score for my first play. I was happy about it, but I know I can do better, and that kind of has me thinking about a little tangent here about high scores. And I think solo gaming kind of turn some people off because they don't want to play a game where the whole goal is to just beat the score you had last time. There are other solo games that don't do that, where you actually have to defeat a villain, i.e. Marvel Champions or something like that. And so I just find myself wondering, like, is there a correlation between people who like pinball and who like solo gaming like this? Because like when I went to an arcade, I would always gravitate towards the Mortal Kombat, box arcade as opposed to pinball. So it's just interesting to think about. Let's discuss this in the comments below. Do you like solo games where you're just trying to beat a score, or do you prefer different types? What are some good examples of this? But Freaky Frogs from Outer Space is definitely staying in my collection. It's a great solo game. Cannot wait to play this some more. My number 9 is Cartographers. It is a flip and write that I got to experience on Board Game Arena with the lovely Crimson Board Games. Go check her out on Instagram and YouTube. She taught it to me and we played it. It was really interesting. It's a flip and write that a lot of people already love. Again, I'm very late to the game here, but it is polyominoes being placed on your board in different terrain types. So there's like plains and forests and water, etc. But what's interesting to me personally is the objectives are A, B, C, and D. And in round 1, you are only scoring objectives A and B. And then round 2 is B and C. Round 3 is C, D, and round 4 is D and A. And so it reminds me a lot of Nemalia, which is the first game I played with this, but Cartographers came out sooner. So it really kind of took this from Cartographers, and Cartographers took this objective system from Isle of Skye, which I have not played either. You can go for things that will only pay off in a future round, or you can really focus on the thing that you need right now because the round is about to end. You also get to this point where you get to just forget about a certain objective. Like once you're in round 4, you don't have to worry about the B and C objectives anymore, which is really cool. So though that is the best part about it, but I also really enjoyed the monster mechanic where you are going to take the paper of one of your opponents and you put a shape of a monster of a polyomino shape on their board, and that is going to screw up their placement for the future and as well as give them negative points. And really, flip and write being one of my favorite genres ever, does not have a lot of interaction, and I think that's a really fun, unique way to add some interaction. I could see how that could really suck if you really don't like those type of interactive things, but for me, it was a really fun twist on a genre that is very typically multiplayer solitaire. So number 9, Cartographers. Number 8 is a big classic that I have never played until this summer, and that is Dominion. I played this in Europe, introduced by our friends Aaron and Luke. Thank you guys for teaching us. It is the grandfather of deck builder. It's the grandfather of all board games. It is the grandfather of deck builders is what most people will call it. And simply you are all starting with the same deck. You use those cards to buy more cards, which allows you to buy even better cards, and you just keep going and you score up your deck at the end. Now this is, the most bare bones version of it. The first time I was introduced to deck building was actually with the DC deck building game. And I always thought it was so funny because I remember playing and I'm like playing as Green Lantern and I'm getting all these cool DC characters. And I remember looking at my buddy and said, okay, so when do we fight each other? When do we battle? Because I'm used to TCGs. And he's like, no, you just score those stars in the corner at the end of the game. And I'm like, what? That's so lame. Why would I ever do that? Now I love deck building, but it's interesting to see Dominion be the progenitor of all of this and then play a lot of modern board games that use deck building that have deck building plus racing or deck building plus worker placement. And then to go back to a much more streamlined, simple one, I gotta say, and this is not a hot take at all, but it holds up so well. It's so satisfying to buy new cards and see what kind of strategy you have. There's a lot more interaction than I thought there'd be. We did play with the Intrigue expansion. This game has like 1 trillion expansions. I can't imagine having them all. It kind of blows my mind. I know there's varying forums and all these things to figure out which ones are best, but really enjoyed the Intrigue one. I want to try this game again and again and again. I don't think I want to own it, but it would be great to just explore all the different expansions without having to buy them myself. So my number 8 was Dominion. An oldie but a goodie. My number 7 is a kind of new hotness game right now, and that is Daybreak. It is called Emission in EU, which is just an objectively better name, but it is a cooperative game primarily using cards that is designed by Matt Leacock of Pandemic fame. And man, does this man know how to make a co-op game. I don't love co-ops. I'm really just trying to explore them more and more, but this one hits that sweet spot. The objective is to protect the world from climate change, and you're all assigned to different world powers. I think I was playing as the US, and it's just so funny looking at what certain countries are strong in and weak in. The game is riddled with tags, and I love tags and I love tableau building. Placing these cards down, and you can help out the other countries. You can, remove emissions from yourself. It's really, really interesting. Not highly asymmetric. It's complex enough that you can't really quarterback easily, but it's not too difficult to where you feel like you can never win or you can't teach it easily. Wow, what a great cooperative experience. I cannot wait to play this some more. My favorite thing though is that every single card has a QR code on it. You scan that QR code, it'll go to what that card is. It'll give you some rulings help because the game is, you know, on the heavier side, but it also will talk about the real world applications of that climate concept. And a lot of times there are cards that are in real life, but some of the cards are also just theoretical concepts of like, how would this work in helping us combat climate change as a planet? So Matt Leacock, he only, you know, he did climate change and pandemic, and I'm like, this guy, his whole like motto is like, too real. Gotta say, great game. I'm so glad it won the Kenner Spiel. I had actually played it before it got the award, so Kenner Spiel games just seem to be something I love. You know, Wingspan, Living Force. They have not picked one that I haven't enjoyed, so that's my number 7, Daybreak. My number 6 is actually 2 games, so I'm cheating a little bit, but you'll understand when I say them because it is Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel. Both of these games I have played to varying degrees on BGA or in real life before I started really tracking my games on BG Stats. It really was the first time I gave them both a real college try, and I very much enjoyed both of them. As you may know if you watch the channel or follow me on Instagram, I am a staunch supporter of Seven Wonders Architect. I think it is a fantastic game that gets overlooked too much. However, both of these games are stellar in their own right. I really love that what both of them have. I love the linking mechanic of getting a card and then that allows you to build another card in the future as long as it has that exact same symbol, which Seven Wonders Architects does not have. And also funnily, like Everdell completely took that from Seven Wonders, and I never really understood that. And then this holding 7 cards, closed drafting, passing them along is just great in Seven Wonders. You just can't help but enjoy that. And then with Seven Wonders Duel, their drafting mechanic is so unique, and I really love the 3 pathways to victory. It is such a unique like tug of war, and what is he going for? What is your opponent going to do here? If I take this one card, it's going to reveal this card that is going to be perfect for my opponent. They're both great. If I had to rank them, I would say Seven Wonders Architects is still my favorite, then Duel, then the original. I did play the original with the Leaders expansion, which really made the game a lot more enjoyable for me as well. So it's just a great system. I think Bruno Cathala, who helped with Seven Wonders Duel, it just made me appreciate him even more as one of my favorite designers because he came in and helped out Antoine Bauza with that, and it's just some people's favorite 2-player game of all time, and I just don't blame them. Both great games, love them, don't have them in my collection, but I'm happy to play them at any time. Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel, my number 6. My number 5 is Concordia. Now, this game has been highly respected as long as I have been in the hobby, and it's a 10-year-old game at this point. It's sort of a network builder, sort of a deck builder, but mainly, in my opinion, is a hand management game. And one thing I love is when games have a very simple turn structure and all the complexity is in the cards or in the tiles or whatever. Concordia is a great example of that. So on your turn, all you do is play one card. The card might allow you to buy new cards, which is why you might call it a deck builder. The card just goes right into your hand though. There's no really shuffling up a deck or anything like that. The card goes right in your hand. You can gain resources from it. You can trade resources or gain money. You might be able to build a house on this big map and move your workers. So there's a lot of different things you can do with the card. But then there are 2 unique cards I really love. One called the Diplomat, which just allows you to copy the card that's in the face-up discard, so the most recently played card of an opponent. Really unique. Love that, especially in a 2-player game. It's kind of like a game of chicken when to play certain things. And then there's also the Tribune card, which is kind of the reset card because you keep putting these cards out into the discard and you can't get them back except for this one card. You play it down, you get some money, and you recoup all your cards back to your hand. So it's kind of a wasted turn, but it really gives me the feel of Everdell when you are preparing for the next season. So all the game is really hand management, but there's also a really nice, unique final scoring where the cards that you're purchasing, they also have Roman gods on the bottom, because I forgot to mention, it's kind of like Italian Roman Empire. I do think the theme is pasted on. It could be any theme. I know they have a ton of maps that people love. I would love to see like a fantasy map, like a completely fictional place. That would be really cool. But these Roman gods kind of score in a multiplier way. If I have 3 Jupiter cards, that will make the Jupiter scoring more unique. So you're really paying attention to the strategy of the cards you buy for the actions they give, but also for the scoring like alliance, whatever god that they go towards. and that's also influencing what you're doing on the board. So lots of strategy and tactics where you're trying to react to what your opponents are doing, which is what I would consider tactics, and also forward planning of what kind of strategy am I going for? How can I spread out among the board? Which card should I buy? Yeah, so much to this game. It's great. I really want to try the Concordia Venus, which has a solo mode that is apparently really unique and awesome. That came out only like 2018 or so. But yeah, Concordia, great game. My number 5. My number 4 is Middle Ages. I got to play this on Board Game Arena with Crimson. This is the newest game on the list. It's kind of a 2024 release. People just kind of got their hands on it at Gen Con. So it is by Marc-Andre, the designer of Splendor, but it is a re-implementation of one of his older games from 2017 that I have championed on the channel, Majesty for the Realm. Super underrated game. I'm so excited it's getting this new re-implementation. It's a really straightforward drafting game, kind of King Domino style. You're taking these tiles, putting them onto your kingdom. It's different from the original version, Majesty, which was Dutch auction, which I love. Concordia also has that. That Dutch auction kind of allows for things that have been in the market to become cheaper as they stay out there longer, and a new card that just comes out is going to be the most expensive. Do love Dutch auction, but I think the change was really great for using the tiles and everything. In a lot of drafting games, there's like no interaction besides hate drafting. I do love that when you draft a barracks, which is kind of like the soldier tile, you will attack your opponents based on how many forts they have, kind of like Seven Wonders-y in that way, but I really enjoy that. It's beautiful. The new art is amazing, and it's kind of going to get this great bones idea of a game for Majesty for the Realm that went under the radar into a lot of people's hands, and because of just how eye-catching it is and this new implementation with tiles. So Middle Ages, that is my number 4, and I'm really, really eager to get that and add it to my collection. My number 3 is Puerto Rico 1897, and if you watched my mid-year board game tag, you are applauding right now because that has been on my shelf of shame for over a year. Finally got it off my shelf of shame in June with my buddies. We played 3-player. Took a little while for us to grok it and like really understand what was going on. But it's got complexity because of the number of buildings, but the main action, very much like Concordia, is simple. You pick a role, and that role will allow you to do an action. All the other players must follow that action, but you who selected that role, you get a little advantage, a little bonus that's different from the other people. So one, that allows for some really nice decisions, and it allows for it to be a very simple, quick turn, but you are paying attention to everyone else's turn. Something will happen on every turn. You're not just sitting there twiddling your thumbs in between turns, which is why the original Puerto Rico, I believe, stayed at number 1 for so long. I really understand its pedigree over the years now, having played it. And as I've said in previous videos, it reworks a theme in a very necessary and awesome way. There's apparently another special edition coming to crowdfunding soon. I'm very happy with my copy right here, Puerto Rico 1897. There's multiple expansions in this box that I have not got to touch yet, and I want to play it with the same group to like kind of get a meta and get some rhythm going. I think it does. It's very low luck, and so I think playing with people who are a similar skill level with you is the best way to play it. It's about a 3.0 on BGG, so it's not like for everyone. It's right in that middle sweet spot. I think you could teach it to a lot of folks, but it is not a gateway game by any means. Puerto Rico 1897, love it. I really want to get this game to the table some more. I think I just have to wait for that perfect moment of a smaller group of real gamers, quote unquote, around the table. So that is my number 3, Puerto Rico 1897. My number 2 game is Nar, and this was a huge surprise to me. It got so much hype for a long time, and I was resistant to it. I think maybe the theming just didn't do it for me, Vikings or whatever. And then I played it on BGA like 5 or 6 times and was like, it's cool, I get it. But then I got to play it in person with my friend Alba, Meeples and Benites on Instagram, and her husband Zach, who destroyed us, by the way. He's a ringer. And within the week, I went back to the store when it was on sale and bought Nar. I mean, just look at this thing. Nice little small box. I also want to show like the colors of the Vikings here and the lands up here are really nice, and this nice small board. It is such a small footprint. I really love what Pandasaurus is doing. They're just knocking it out of the park lately. On your turn, all you do is decide to play a Viking down in front of you into your crew, or go explore lands by sending those Vikings away. But when you play a different color Viking, it gives you the resource. When you play a same color Viking on top of an original one, you get the resource from the previous Viking and the new one. So you can get these huge stacks. You know, I get 4 yellow Vikings and then I play the 5th one and I get all 5 of those resources. They have all these different resources. Some of them are just victory points. My favorite being the reputation, which is a little like guitar lyre symbol. When you pass a certain threshold, you'll start getting victory points passively as income at the beginning of your turn because your reputation is so great as like a Viking lord or whatever. Other than playing the cards down, the exploring the lands, you are spending those Vikings, thematically sending them out on a mission to explore a land, which gives you a lot more points and also allows you to get a different set of engine building that has to do with trading, where you sell these bracelets. It's a lot. As I'm saying this, it's a lot of different things, but there's this awesome tension of, should I be playing the card from my hand down in front of me to work on my crew engine, or should I send those cards that are already in front of me out on a mission, basically removing them from collecting me resources, but to get me a big point scoring and potentially future engine building. Very hard to describe, but every single turn is a nice, interesting decision. And I'm just so happy I have this game now. So Gnar, a big surprise for me, my number 2. And my number 1 is a game I haven't played in person and I've only played on Board Game Arena, and that is Captain Flip. Might be a surprise to you. Very, very light game. It won the Spiel, or it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. It lost out to Sky Team. I want to say, just caveat, this game gets an unfair advantage because I've been playing it on BGA, and you can play a 2-player game of this in 4 minutes. Literally 4 minutes, not exaggerating. So I've probably played this 20, 25 times. It is a great game. It's admittedly a very light game, and that is okay. I'm really not into this gamer gatekeeping that tends to happen inside of our hobby. Every single tile has a character on it, and on the back side of it, it has a different character. It can never be the same character. Your only decisions in the game is you pick up a tile, look at the character on the front, decide if you want to keep that and place it, or flip it over to whatever does on the other side, and once you've flipped it, you can't go back and place that character on your ship. And they interact in a lot of different ways. There's other flipping. There's a lot of ways to earn points instantly or earn points as kind of like an end game scoring. But there's also a push your luck mechanic with the gunner tile. And the gunners, if you get 3 of them, they score you 5 points, coins, same thing. They earn you 5 points instantly, but if you have 3 of them at the end of the game, you just lose. You just get 0 points, you cannot win. And then there's these monkey tiles that help you flip them over. All the other ones have varying degrees of like strategy, but it's a very, very well balanced cast of characters. And then there are 5 ships. Once I started playing with it, I played it once, I was like, oh, this is fun. Then I started playing around with all the different ships, and they have interesting rewards at the top of each column depending on the ship that you're using. It's just got so much to it for such a simple game. I think when I do a future top 10 gateway games, again, when I update my old one, you've got simple decisions, you've got this nice push your luck mechanic, and you actually are paying attention to others' turns. It's exciting to see someone get something big and or big, positive or negative. And then it's so quick that if the luck doesn't go your way, you just play again. And so I think this is a great beginner game. I think if you are watching this and you're trying to get into the hobby and you want something that is exciting around the table, but you also get to make meaningful decisions, Captain Flip, it's just that sweet spot. I haven't gone out and bought it again. I don't think it's perfect for my collection, but I cannot stop playing it on Board Game Arena. It is so fun. Captain Flip. Okay, so that's my top 15. I've got a smallish haul here, channeling my Benicio del Toro, the collector here. I'm just gonna talk about the new games to my collection as quickly as I can. This video is going way longer than I thought it would, but I just was so excited to talk about these summer plays. Thank you for sticking around. So if you skipped ahead to just the haul, you just wanna see what I got, you might have missed 4 of the games that were in that top 15. They're right here. I'll just show them again really quickly. Freaky Frogs from Outer Space, solo deck builder. Gnar, engine building Viking game. Marabunta, Reiner Knizia 2-player roll and split you choose game. and Beacon Patrol cozy 1 to 4 player tile laying cooperative game. I purchased those all myself, varying degrees, mostly new. Freaky Frogs I got used. Then I bought the Quest for El Dorado Ding and Dent version, another Reiner Knizia. It's got this little dent here. I can't even show it to you. It's so tiny. I put some like tape on the inside to reinforce it, and I got it like 50% off there. If you can ever find Ding and Dent, highly recommend. Then I want to go to my small stack here. These are all games that I got sent to me for review. Shout out to, it's called Honest Quirk Games. This is called Earth Gambit Light. It is a 2 to 10 player sort of social deduction, but they don't want to be called social deduction. It's kind of social adventure. Big reason I'm intrigued by this is it's loosely inspired by Three Body Problem, which I really enjoyed. So thank you so much for sending this. I promise it will be featured on a video very soon. Same with these two games, Next Station Paris and Wonderwoods. I am working on a Next Station video, so stay tuned for that. Both from Blue Orange Games. Thank you so much. I've been really just loving everything I get from Blue Orange, whether I buy it or get it for review, so thank you. So this is the last stack here. This is my stack O deals here. I got some good deals on all these. So Village Rails, Babylonia, and Coal Baron. I got all varying times from Facebook Marketplace. I'm in a group in the Portland area. I think you should find those if you want. It's just great way for you to, you know, get used games that, and gamers tend to take care of their stuff. Like I have a big pile now that I want to post onto the Facebook group to get them sold. If I'm not playing a game for over a year, I think it's time for me to move it on. And so I've been buying games from there for very affordable prices and games that sometimes are out of print. This Coal Baron game is a 2013 first edition release that I have not been able to find anywhere for a good price. So really excited about that. Actually got that today. And then Chronicles of Avil, Creature Comforts, and Welcome to, I all got from either a local board game shop or from a board game website when they had a sale. Chronicles of Avil was on a co-op sale. I got that with Beacon Patrol that Boardlandia had. Great website, not sponsored, but they do deals all the time. And then Welcome to and Creature Comforts were both half off at different local game shops, and really excited about those. So they are worker placement, co-op like D&D Light. Babylonia is a tile placing kind of magnum opus, some people might say, of Reiner Knizia. I've been on a Knizia kick. Creature Comforts by Roberta Taylor, worker placement with no blocking, really, really cute theme. I cannot wait to try that. Welcome to, a game I have played many times, been waiting to buy, and it is one of the original Flip and Writes. Plays up to 100 players is its big thing. Love it. The Queen loves it. And then Village Rails, I bought strictly because of the designer, Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. Dunstan, famous for Next Station London and Next Station Everything. And this is kind of like a light tableau building puzzle game, as it says on the back here. And I have not got to play this yet, but really excited for all of these games in my summer haul. Quick insert here. You might have wondered what this book is here. It's called PNW, Card Games Inspired by the Pacific Northwest. It has the rules for 6 games that you can play with a single deck of cards. Do not worry, there will be content coming on this soon. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm glad to be back, and I'm excited to bring you some more content. Very soon, I will be talking about my top 20 games of all time. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.